Hello, and welcome to what we hope is the first of many gameplay videos from the Chronowalkers. Today, we're taking a look at, maximizing some of that new card smell and new affiliation smell with Iblis bringing in Phage versus Kasha bringing in the Bellum and Chaos pairing, which is new with the Origin set release.
We're trying out a new format. Let us know how things look. Anything we can do to improve the visuals or the clarity, please let us know. We'll be happy to take any comments.
Because we're doing it for you guys. So
Yeah.
as long as it's something that you guys like, then that's what we want to do.
All right.
But with that, let's jump straight into looking at the decks. So we'll start with Iblis, which I will be piloting today, Shehanigans. So key cards to highlight here. We're not going to go too in deep, but I did want to point out Chittering Ramasi, which is a card that maybe you don't expect to see, but it's as a 4-chi 2 damage, 1 health summon. The key here is it only costs 3 aura. Super cheap. Aside from that, we want to use Drawbreak and Recomposition to basically improve our hand quality. Where Iblis, we can go long. So we want to try and get the higher chi cards into our hand. Recomposition doing a surprisingly good impersonation of Dedicated Studies, like obviously not as good as Dedicated Studies, but it's 1 chi less and kind of fixing the top of the deck. And of course, the health payment synergizes with Drawbreaks.
And let's take a look at Kasha. Looking at Kasha here, we look at this is a Kasha control deck. It's really trying to play to Kasha's strengths as being able to play more cards than most other champions because you're spending your health instead of as opposed to aura, and you can do it for long periods of time. You can really just churn through your deck, especially with the card Drawbreak, and play a lot of cards. So Drawbreak, kind of like with Iblis, is a key card in this deck. So if you want to know more about Drawbreak, you can check out another video we did about it.
Kasha going even deeper.
Yeah, and then you can also check out videos going a little bit more in depth of both of these decks. But this deck is a Drawbreak deck that is really trying to spend your life, get it back, get your key cards like Hellchasm, Bolt Shot, Blood Rakshasa, and just try to overwhelm your opponent with sheer quantity of cards. Alright, so here we are in the game. This is Coliseum of Fate. It's a great tool to use to be able to build decks and play games with anyone you want. We highly recommend using it, and you'll be seeing it here. And this is where we're going to be playing games from here on out. Unless we can play in paper, which I will be in Charleston to compete for it on Saturday.
Oh, damn.
So, yeah, let's take a look at our starting hands. We see that I'm playing as Kasha. Shehanigans is playing as Iblis. And we both have a Drawbreak in our opening hand, so we're both going to be able to kind of get our game plan going. Starting up. Going first. So it's just going to be pretty simple. Moving up, playing that Drawbreak, and then playing out my summons. One thing you want to keep in mind is there might be times in which you don't want to play your summons out until you get that Drawbreak going, because you want to be getting those counters on Drawbreak. So I just played my summons out to the side so they don't get like Bolt Shotted or something, and then pass the turn.
Yeah, I will say here that I think we'll see that managing those Drawbreaks when both players are playing them, and how knowing what your opponent is on and making sure that you don't accidentally put it so that they get to draw right at the beginning of their turn is a pretty big part of like the Drawbreak mirror. But yeah, I also do my Drawbreak and beckon some Ramasis, those cheap summons I mentioned.
Yeah, and then we go to the next turn, right? And so I move up, and my thinking here is I'm gonna move up. I didn't want to move into your Tridium Ramasis with my summons and have them like take damage or die or something like that. So I move up. I know I've got an Oten in my hands, so my plan is basically to move up, bait out the attack, Oten away, and then use my Engulfing Wrath to kill one of the Ramasis. And then with this Pain Imp I just played, I've got 4 counters on my Drawbreak, so that Engulfing Wrath will now get me my 5th counter. And so that's basically what I'm thinking.
Yeah, unfortunately, my hand isn't quite as good for constructing a like solid game plan like that. Sometimes it just happens that way. So I'm just kind of trying to get that Iblis 3 damage attack off on Kasha, which as Eric just explained his line, not going to end well for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
But to be fair, that is kind of what you want to do with Iblis. You really want to use
yeah,
that 3 damage attack as much as you can.
yeah. Like Iblis is very, very strong with that damage prevention, but the weakness is going to be repeated source of damage, like that Blood Rakshasa. So that's kind
Yeah.
of the biggest threat
Hmm.
for me right now.
And so while both of these champions are very good with Jawbreak, Kasha can kind of trigger it herself while Iblis has to rely on the opponent to deal damage to her.
Yeah, if I don't have like just one card or two cards, I guess on my deck, the Rope
Hmm.
Tornado and recomposition
Composition.
and recomposition
Yeah.
are my only
Yeah.
two ways
So
to
I
go.
noticed I moved my Blood Rakshasa and hit you for 4 damage, which would reduce to 3. And you take it, even though you have. I guess because I'm going first, right? You don't want to throw me away, because then I can just move and attack again, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So I do get my 3 damage. You get your counters, but yeah, let's go to the next round, and we can see I drew another Odin. You got your bolt shot, so that's pretty nice. And so I'm starting with a Pain Imp. So the reason I'm starting here is because my Blood Rakshasa is already in place to attack. So I want to get the Imp in so that they can kind of go, because the Imp's attack is action, and that's the only attack that can damage Iblis. So I need to be able to, have it go on its turn, and it can't attack swiftly to deal its damage. So then on the end step of this Pain Imp, I use my fire attack. You use he as a Garuma. So continue
Yep.
on.
And then get him in front of the Ramasi and get the Ramasi attack off. Blood Rakshasa was definitely the biggest threat, so I'm very glad to have got rid of it.
Mhm.
The Pain Imps, as I just mentioned, can only move once in order to get an attack that actually does anything to Iblis.
Yeah.
So, like, still a threat, but not as scary.
Yeah, and on my side, my 5 chi summon just did 3 damage and then took a 7 chi from them. Alright, so
Yeah,
you hit me for 3 damage. This is
that's
actually
right.
pretty key, right? Because I had 5 counters on my draw break, right?
Yeah,
And so there is definitely I maybe could have gone with Kasha first to trigger that draw break, right? Because you want to get the 5 counters on your draw break, trigger it, and start again. Because once you get past 5 counters, it's all like basically worthless.
and absolutely, like, and like your opponent's going to be working in the opposite direction. Like, once someone's
Yeah.
close, you want to kind of just unload and
Yeah.
give them like 20 counters.
Exactly. So now I've got 8 counters on my draw break, but it's alright. Once I have that, I'm just like, alright, whatever. So get you down to 21. And then I guess then my draw break triggers. Draw 2
Yep.
cards. I discard an Oten. I feel like your biggest threat is your bolt shots. So Oten doesn't really do anything. So I play another draw break. Yeah, play another draw break. There we go. And play my Hellchasm.
Yes, and that kind of really locks in kind of what's going to be happening in this match, because as you can see, got the surround on Iblis just with a couple of movements. Just move those Pain Imps.
I think this kind of like this was like very very much a turning point in the game. Is with this and the Pain Imps, plus because I'm going first, I can just move that Pain Imp around. And this is why there's roundhouse kicks in the sideboard, right?
Yeah.
That being said, you do have your draw break that's ready to trigger.
Yeah.
So hit you down to 14. All right, and then here I play my bolt shot, and the reason is because what we were talking about before. You already had your 5 counters or more than 5 counters, so I just wanted to unload and basically do as much damage as I could. All right, so and remember that bolt shot deals damage to the chasms as well.
Yeah, area damage, hitting everything in those spaces.
All right, but now I believe yes, your draw break triggers.
Yeah,
and then,
I'm wondering if I should have rotated to be in a position to deal with a Pain Imp.
Yeah, possibly.
But
yeah, because and then you play the Chronowalkers, kind of out to the side. You couldn't play behind you because then it would just die.
Yeah, I'm forced to play there. I mean, like it's basically I know it's gonna die very easily and quickly, but it's just kind of like hopefully to move something out the way.
Yeah.
So that I can get out of this position, because it's not where I want to be.
Yeah, and then here you hit me down to I have 2 draw breaks. You hit me down to 5 counters, and now you unload on me again. I think here
Yeah.
you play 3 wind slashes, and you are holding that bullet shot in your hands.
Yeah, trying to figure out when the best time to play that. Maybe I should have just done it there. It's difficult.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, which is fine because now I have a ton of counters on my draw breaks, but they both trigger. So now I'm getting, drawing 2, discarding 1, then drawing 2, discarding 1. And remember, they're individual triggers. You don't draw 4, discard 2.
Maybe I should have played the bolt shot in, because it was kind of like wanting to keep 1 card in hand.
Mm-hmm.
No cards in hand is kind of declaring to your opponent, "Hey, I can't do anything. You've got me," right?
Yeah.
So maybe it would be better to keep a wind slash and play out the bolt shot just to get the damage where I know I want to be. But I mean, I didn't think of that. And also, like, I'm afraid of these blood rakshasas, right? Like,
yeah, I think you were right in holding it. So stopping right here, we can see the blood rakshasa just coming down. Your bolt shot immediately popping up. You're like, oh, okay, I gotta get rid of that. I think that's pretty fair. All right, so I get rid of your trading Ramasi, gain 1 life. And remember, the Coliseum of Fate will auto pay for the costs, so you have to go back in and gain that life on Kasha manually. So that's something to keep in mind. So here you go, killing the Blood Rakshasa with the bolt shot. That's okay. So now, hit you down to 10 with my other Pain Nymph. I think that's an interesting point. So about that you made earlier about having to rotate to deal with one of the Pain Nymphs. You did deal a lot of damage to me, but now the Pain Nymphs are kind of hitting you.
Yeah, I think it was also what your draw breaks, since they just procced. As you can see, down to 1 recomposition in hand, and I need time to basically draw more cards, hopefully get another draw break off. Now that I have 2 on me, but so that's why turning to deal with the Pain Imp, because it's attacking Kasha at this point is just gonna give Kasha more card draw. I need to turn that equity around somehow, and getting rid of the repeated sources of damage is going to be part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, and this is also the power of going first, right? Because I can move over, lock you in, kind of keep going. Otherwise, you could have moved away. All right, so now you have 2 recompositions in hands.
Yeah,
not looking great.
Yes, I needed something a bit better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and here's another unfortunate part about the action attack. You can't spin around and kill that other Pain Nymph.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was gonna mention that. There's just like some forces and I think I actually declined to attack you here.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's just I just don't do anything on my turn because I needed a chance to get to get something off my draw breaks.
Yep. You don't play anything. That being said, you don't even attack because I had 2 counters on my draw breaks.
Yeah.
At the end of the turn, I have this Rope Tornado and Engulfing Wrath in my hand.
Yeah, so I was dead already, pretty much. But I made the line that, like, the best line that I could.
Yeah.
Which was like, I need to get my draw breaks off without letting you get another 2 cards ahead of me.
Yeah. But in the end, I played these 2 cards out and got my draw breaks to go. And I have in my hand, so now my draw breaks are triggering. I do have these Underworld Knowledges. I do think they're pretty good in the early game because they are basically free and they help you dig towards Drawbreak. But yeah, definitely here where I'd rather be hitting, they're definitely a lot worse.
Yeah, it's an interesting... Underworld Knowledge is letting you dig towards a Drawbreak. Pain Imp kind of does the same thing, but also
only if you have a Drawbreak.
Yeah, well, no. In terms of, it's a summon. So it's kind of like Underworld Knowledge is just like the turbo, like, I just want to get my draw pick right now.
I think it's better to have a couple Underworld Knowledges.
A couple.
But here we go. I dropped 2 Blood Rakshasas as a Pain Imp. I've got 5 counters on both my draw breaks. I'm at 8. You're at 1. I'm going first.
Yeah. Yeah, there isn't really anything.
Yeah. So you have, I don't even know what you could draw. You'd have to draw like double Bolt Shot or something like that, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, we're seeing the strength of Kasha, because like Iblis is supposed to be I get to go to the long game, but like Kasha gaining all that health back, making all those spells free, and then having cheaper plays because of that allowing Kasha to really like play some really good quality cards against Iblis.
Yep.
Definitely you getting that second drawbreak so much earlier, which is because you're playing like 10 versus I think the 6 that Iblis was playing. So like a full fifth of your deck is drawbreak.
Yeah.
Um,
You do want that drawbreak from Iblis, but I just don't think you can run that many drawbreaks with her.
yeah, it is a tricky prospect to try and pull out with Iblis.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean that was a good game. It kind of showcased the strengths and weaknesses of the decks.
Yeah.
It was just one game. Just we wanted to try this format out. But let us know how you think.
And we'll see you in the next one.